In today's video, I want to show you how I was able to achieve all these effects on this flyer using the Pixel application. So in this video, we are not going to be creating everything from scratch. I want to just show you how I was able to achieve this gradient, all this effect that you are seeing on this flyer. So I will first of all start with this Mona's typography. Let me show you how I was able to achieve this beautiful and awesome gradients with this text. So I'll just come to my text tool. I'll click on text. Yeah, I'll edit this and type in Munas. Okay, without the apostrophe s. This is just for tutorial purpose, but I'll make sure I drop all the resources used for this video inside the description so that you can download the file, the design file, and make sure you do your practice very well. So now I'll just go to this is my Munas typography here. Now I'll just go to color. Now there are two pattern of colors. You have a solid color pattern and a gradient color pattern. So for this Munas tag, I use both the gradient color pattern and not the solid color pattern. Solid color means just one unique and single color, so I'll just go in for the gradient. And here is the gradient color pattern I used for this tutorial. Is actually two colors, so I'll just click on it. Then let me show you the colors and share with you the color code, so that when you are practicing this tutorial, you just copy the color code from here and insert so that you have the same result. Now okay, on these wheels I have the first gradient wheel, second gradient wheel, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, the sixth gradient wheel. Now if you check very well, you see that this color is coming from the left direction, and this other color is coming from the right direction. Is because I use the first gradient wheel to achieve this. If you click on the second gradient wheel, see that this color is coming from below, this other color is coming from the bottom. So you can try the different wheels that you are seeing here. So I'll go in for the first gradient wheel. Now I have two color stoppers. Okay, this is the first color stopper, and also this is the second color stopper. So on this first color stopper, normally when you open your color stopper, you see this stopper this way. When you open your gradients panel, you will see this color stopper but this way, and this other one this way. Yeah, so when you see yours like this, you can just click and drag this. Make sure you position it here so that you have the same result that I'm having. Now on this color stopper, when you click on the color stopper to actually insert a color code, the color code for this particular color, you click on the color stopper like this. You come to color, you click on this. When you click on that, you click on this kind of erase icon, you click on it. Now this is the color and this is the hex code for this particular color. So you can either go in for the hex code or you go in for the RGB version of this color. Yeah, so when you are going in for the hex code, make sure you are writing everything in capital letters. So the hex code for this particular color is FCA F01. What did I say? FCA F01. If you don't want to go in for the hex code, you can go in for the RGB, red, green, and blue. Now on the red panel, you put 252, the green 175, and the blue 1. Okay, remember I said you can either go in for the hex code or the RGB, but I think the hex code will be more easier. And make sure you are writing everything here in capital letters. So we have the FCF01. To actually write this color code, that you just click on it and your keyboard will pop up. You can delete and you can add your own color code. You can change your color code and insert this particular color code so that you have the same color that I use for this tutorial. Okay, now let's now go to the second color stopper. Now on this second color stopper, you click on it, you click on color, you click on this pen icon. Yeah, this is the color and this is the hex code for this color. You can either go in for the RGB or the hex code, but I prefer that you should go in for the hex code since it is easier to like implement, rather than all of them. They are easier, but anyways, for me, I love to be using me hex code and not the RGB. But if you want to go in for the RGB, just edit all the figures you see here and make sure you have these exact figures for you to have this same color. That's for the reds 254, the green 66, the blue 21. If you don't want to go in for the RGB code, you can go in for the hex code, which is, and make sure you are writing your hex codes all in capital letters. We have the FE4215, FE4215. When you set up this parameter, you click on OK and OK. Now you have your gradients color pattern like this. So when all this, you have set up all these parameters, you just click on OK. So you see that this is actually the gradient effect we have achieved. So now if you take a close look at the Muna text on this design, see that there is kind of a shadow effect on this Muna's text. So let me show you how I was able to achieve that. You should not worry about anything, because I will drop all the resources used for this tutorial inside the description of this video. And if you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe now, so that YouTube will always notify you whenever I'm around with awesome content like this. So back to our shadow effect. Let's see how we can apply the shadow effect on this Muna's text. So I will just bring this Muna text on top of the text kitchen, so that you are going to be seeing how I'm applying that particular shadow. So this is my shadow. I'll click on shadow, I'll toggle it on. Okay, now you can offset the shadow both on the x-axis and the y-axis, understand? But for this tutorial, I will use the y-axis and not the x-axis, because the y-axis will take the shadow up and bottom, that's upward and below, while the x-axis will take the shadow left or right. Yeah, so for this tutorial, I'll be using the y-axis to the positive direction, because if you take it to the negative direction, you see that the shadow is going upward. If you take it to the positive direction, you see that the shadow is coming downwards. The same for the offset x. If you take it to the negative direction, the shadow is going at the left side of the design. If you take it to the right, to the positive angle, you see that the shadow is going to the right side on this design. But for this tutorial, we are not going to be using the x, the offset x of the shadow. We are going to be using only the offset y, because I want the shadow to be instead coming downwards. So I'll just make sure. Are you seeing the shadow? Yeah, that's it. Now let me try and play with the blur radius of that shadow. You see that if I reduce the blur radius, the shadow becomes more sharper. You see how it is sharp? So the blur radius is an option that will make your shadow soft and realistic on your design. So I'll just increase my blur radius a bit. You see how the shadow is becoming more blurrer and blur when you are increasing the figure of the blur radius option. So I'll just make sure I have a shadow. I'll give a blur radius of, like, let's say 20. I think 20 is much. Okay, let's say 10. Then yeah, so I'm cool with this. So that is how I was able to achieve the shadow effect on this Muna's text. Okay, now let's see how we can apply this sooty glow effect, that's the inner shadow, on this particular shape. So I'll click on my shape tool, then create a new shape and show you how I was able to achieve that. It is very easy and simple to create. So let me just select color. Okay, I think this is the color I use on this particular area. So I'll just share the color code with you, so they can copy the color code and insert it in order for you to have the same color that I'm having here. So to you set your own color code, you just click on this plus icon and you click on this tool here, this pen tool. You click on this pen tool, and here is a color, here is a hash code, and also here is the RGB color code for this particular color. So you should either go in for the RGB color code or the hash code of this particular color. You see, all these things, they are easy to implement. So whatsoever color code you are having here, please erase it and insert this color code that you are seeing here. That is 791903. What did I say? 791903. So after setting up this parameter hex code color, you should click on OK and OK. You have the same color here. Now if you take a close look at this flyer, you see that this particular shape is having kind of rounded edges. The edges are not sharp as seen on this shape. Okay, so how can we achieve this kind of rounded edges? You'll just come to radius. You reduce the shape a bit. You see, if I increase the value to let's say 60%, you see how it's becoming more rounder. Yeah, so but if you check well on this shape, you see that the edges of this is not round as this. So what I'm going to do is that I'll just make sure I decrease the radius of this shape so that I will have the exact result I have here. Okay, so yeah, I'll just decrease it to something like this. I think I can. Okay, you see that? Yeah, so I think I'll go in for a radius of 9%. Then I'll click on my check mark to accept all the parameters I've set on this particular shape. Now it's time for us to add the inner glow effect that you are seeing on this particular shape. So I will go to inner glow. Okay, inner shadow, sorry, the inner shadow. I'll go to inner shadow, then I'll toggle my inner shadow on. You see, the default color of inner shadow is black. So when I toggle it off, I'm sure you are seeing what is happening on the screen. So I'll toggle it on, then I'll make sure I change the color to this particular color I used here. So let me try this and share the color code with you. So now, you see, I have a blur radius of 10. So on this inner shadow, I'll not be working on the offset X and the offset Y. No, I'll only be working with the blur radius. If I increase the blur radius, you see the inner shadow will become more realistic. You see that? If I decrease it, you see what's happening on the screen. You see that? Okay, so we are moving. Let me go back to the inner shadow. All these things are easy to create, so if you are new on Pixel Lab, just know that this channel is a best channel where you can actually learn all these things for free. So I will just make sure I give it a blur radius of 10. I think the color is cool. Okay, it is not that realistic as compared to this one. So I'll go back to the inner shadow. Make sure I'll pick the color from this. I'll pick the color, the exact color that I use. Yeah, I'll just pick this color like this, and I'll make sure I share the file for this design inside the description of this video so that you can download the file and make sure you pick your color directly from the design like this. You click on this check mark. After selecting the color, you click on that check mark and you click on OK. So let me increase yeah, let me say a blur radius of 15. I think this color is way different from this. So what I'm going to do is that I'll go back to my edit. I will prefer to pick a color from the shape directly so that in order for me to have a perfect result. So I'll just select this shape and click on this check mark, then click on OK. Or yeah, you see, now we are having the same color as seen on this particular shape, and now the inner shadow is more realistic than before. That is because the contrastness of the color were not really different. So let me try to increase. Okay, let's say a blur radius of 20. I'm working on the inner shadow still. Yeah, you see that it is now more realistic than before. Okay, so that is that for the inner shadow. Okay, now let me show you how I was able. Normally the back, let me first of all show you the color I use for this background is actually a black solid color. So let me just prove it to you so that you understand what I'm saying. You see, this is a color, a black solid color. This is a color. Let me just give you the hex code for black. So the hex code for black is 00000 6 times. So that's a hex code for black. 6 zeros, you have black. Okay, so I use a pure black color for this design. Yeah, so now let me show you how I was able to apply the effect you are seeing here, this sweet blending effect that I use on this tutorial. Let me show you on this flyer design. Let me show you how I was able to achieve that with this pixel app application. So I'll just go to, I actually use a shape tool to achieve this. I'll go to shape. I'll make sure I scale the shape in to actually suit what I want to achieve. Now on this shape, I'll use a gradient. So I'll use a gradient to achieve that effect. So I'll go to gradient. Yeah, this is actually the gradient pattern I use to achieve this effect. So I'll just click on it, then I will share with you how I was able to make sure it come out perfectly as seen on the original design. So after clicking on it, I'll click on this plus icon. Now there are also two color stoppers here on this color wheel pattern. There are also two color stoppers here. Now this is the first stopper and this is the second stopper. Now if you open your own color wheel and your stopper is at this angle and the other stopper is also at this angle, it is very easy. It's very easy. Just pick this, just click and drag this color stopper and put it this way. Please note that we are doing this for this particular tutorial. Okay, there are so many different ways to kind of apply this effect, but for this tutorial, this is my process, how I was able to achieve the design you saw. Okay, so now if your stopper is at this angle, make sure you take it this way. Okay, now for this gradient pattern here, I told you have the first gradient pattern, the second, third, fourth and fifth. So on this particular effect I use for the second gradient layout pattern. I use for the second and not more the first. So I use but the second. Now on this color stopper, to actually have this transparency here, you click on the color stopper, you click on color. Make sure when you click on the color stopper, you see this kind of orange color. This orange color is telling you that this color stopper is being selected. So if I click on this, the orange color here will move from here to here because I'm now active on this other color stopper, and that's why you're seeing this gradient, this orange color here. It's actually telling you the kind of color stopper you have selected. So let me go back to this one. To achieve this transparency here, you click on it, then you click on color. Now when you click on color, make sure you have this way, push this one this way to your right, and if you are then make sure if this one is this way, if this one is here, make sure you put it this way. So on this first one, you should have this setup here. This second one, you should have this setup here, and this last one, you should have it set up here. That's where you have the transparency section of it. So when you set up all these things, you click on OK. Now let's move to the second color stopper that is having this particular color. So you click on this color stopper and you click on color. You click on this pen eye tool. I just want to share the color code with you so that when you are creating this tutorial, you should have the same color. And I'll also share the size of this flyer in case if you don't know the size and you need it for practical purpose. So for the hex code, this is the color and this is the hex code of this color. For the hex code, I use 950, that's 95002. What did I say? 95002. So after you have insert your hex code and you're having the same color, you can click on OK. Please, if you don't want to go in for the hex code, you can also go in for the RGB, that is the red, green and blue, and make sure you set up all these parameters just the way you are seeing it here for you, in order for you to have this same exact color. So when you set up these parameters, you click on OK and OK, then you click on OK. So you see that this is it, and now this is the transparency area. You see this area is transparent, and the other color stopper is having the real color, that's the solid, the pure solid color, while this area is transparent. Now let me show you. This is the transparency color stopper. This is a color stopper that is having the transparency of this particular gradient layout. You can see on your screen. You click on OK. So I just say let me show you so that you should you should not be doubting how things are happening here. So let me first of all hide the original effect. Okay, this is the original effect. You see how that area is having a pure solid black color. So let me hide the effect so that when I'm applying this, you are going to be seeing actually the result. So you just take it here below your design, you send it to back. So that is how I was able to achieve this simple minimalist effect I use on this restaurant flyer. Send it to back. Okay, now let's see how we can be able to achieve this. First of all, I would like to hide the layers. So you see how that place is having a pure solid black, because I I use a solid black background for this design. Yeah, so let me show you how I was able to achieve the effects you are seeing here. Let me show you how I was able to achieve this effect. Now for you to achieve this effect, you just need to go to your shape, you click on this drop down and you select circle. So when you select a circle like this, make sure you take your opacity of the circle to 0. So after taking opacity to 0, you take your stroke width to 40. You increase your stroke width to 40. By default, you are going to be having a black color on the stroke, but that is not a problem. That one is not a problem. So now after I have taken the stroke width to 40, this is what we are going to do. Just make sure you follow me carefully, and please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe now so that YouTube will always notify you whenever I'm around with awesome content like this. So after setting up all these parameters for this circle, which we have completely turned into a stroke circle, now this is what we are going to do. Please follow me carefully. These things are very easy. So when you have this set up like this, now you click on this angle. You see that is having this note. You click on this angle, having this note, not this note, not this note, this one here, this one here. You click on this angle having this note, you scale it down until a point where you are no more seeing the inside of this circle. Okay, I hope you understand what I'm saying. So you click on this angle, you scale it down until a point where you are no more seeing this open part inside the circle. So this is what I'm saying. I will just scale it. I'm still saying I'll scale. I'm still saying I'm still seeing something here. So sorry for that. I'll scale again. Scale. Yeah. Okay. I'm still seeing something. I'll open it back and scale. Yeah. I'm not more seeing anything inside that particular area. So when you have scaled it down, you now come to blur radius. Okay, blur radius. You now come to blur radius, and make sure you increase your blur radius to 25. Yeah, to 25. Make sure you increase your blur radius to 25. When you have increased your blur radius, make sure you accept this check mark. Okay, so this is what we are having. Now you just need to increase this a bit, then change the color from black to the color I use. So if you are creating something different and maybe you saw a flyer on Pinterest or something, like you saw a flyer anywhere and you see this kind of effect and you don't know how to create the effect, this tutorial is for you. So now I'll just need to change the color of it. Let me say to this color. Yeah, this color is good. Yeah, I'll change it, then I'll make a duplicate of it, because here I used two of this effect to achieve this result. So I'll make a duplicate of this and make sure I change it to this other color. Then I'll position it very well so that you really understand. Okay, I use but this color. So now I'll go back to my layer, go and hide the original effect as seen on the design. I'll hide it, then make sure I place this one here. I'll scale it a bit, I'll scale it very well, then I'll send it to back, send to back. Then also this, I will scale it and make sure I have it positioned very well. So you see that. Okay, I'll increase this like this. Yeah, so that is how I was able to achieve um, the effect you see on this flyer. That actually makes the flyer to be more beautiful. Now for this shape, this is something very easy to create. This is something very easy to create. For you to actually create this shape, you just need to take shape, then you increase your blur radius, like you increase it, make, because if you check very well on this, on the flyer seen on your screen, see that the shape is not having strong edge, the edges are round a bit. So I'll just, yeah, increase my blur radius to 21%. Then I can now go to texture to actually insert these images into this shape. Then you make sure you position it very well. So I will just relative position to the center, then I make a duplicate. I bring it here, then I also relative this position to the center so that all the three shapes should be in a straight line. So I'll also place this, then make sure I relative position to the center. Yeah, you see that. Now you can insert your images into this shape and make sure you give a stroke color. So if you don't know how to give a stroke color, this is a stroke. I'll give it a stroke of white. You cannot see it because the stroke itself is white and the stroke color is white, so you cannot see it. Let me just try to see I can import something using the text. Okay, I'll just go to my album and select something. Okay, let me select something and insert into that shape so that you are going to be seeing clearly the stroke. Okay, okay, so I'll go in for 1:1 since the shape is a square. I'll go in for 1:1, which is actually a square. Then I'll click on my check mark. So this is okay. You can now see, let me increase the stroke again a bit. You can now see how the stroke is applying. Okay, yeah, so I'll give it maybe a stroke of 3, a stroke width of 3. So that is how I was able to achieve this simple restaurant minimalist flyer design on the Pixel app application. So please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe now so that YouTube will always be there to notify you whenever I'm around with awesome content like this. And don't forget, this is the best channel that you can be having awesome and sweet tutorial like this. So peace out. I will see you in my next tutorial.